Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing on Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, as you know, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a 2022 computer animated adventure comedy film which was meant to be a sequel to the spin-off film Puss in Boots. And keep in mind, after a long absence, we finally see Antonio Banderas back as Puss in Boots, but also seeing Selma Hayek return as Kitty Softballs. And I think for the most part, I think doing The Last Wish does show you the team were really putting a lot more on the horse. It really showed you that, yeah, they were going with a darker, more serious story. And the premise of the film is meant to feature Puss in Boots, who pretty much after accidentally awakening a sleeping giant, manages to take down the creature, but we see how he ends up losing 8 of his 9 lives. And you can tell the Doctor pretty much wants to make sure how many of his lives lost, and we see how Puss in Boots learns to his dismay that he's down to his last life and is suggested to give up fighting as well as being an adventurer. And we see how, yeah, after dealing with a black hooded wolf known as Lobo, we see how Puss in Boots now realizes that, yeah, things are getting dangerous and decides to go to the house of the cat lady, Mama Luna. Here we also do kind of see how he meets a Chihuahua dog known as Burrito, who pretty much wants to kind of become a therapy dog. And we see how he learns from Goldilocks and the Free Bear Crime Syndicate about Jack Horner having a match for Wishing Star, and this is where you're going to see Puss in Boots kind of seeing this as a golden opportunity to get his 8 lives back. And we see how with him, Kitty Softpaws and Burrito journey out to kind of get their wishes, but not knowing of the dangers that are to come. And I think for the most part, kind of seeing Puss in Boots back and seeing the animation different does show you that, yeah, DreamWorks can really change the animation to fit the tone of the story. And I think the point of Puss in Boots in this film at the start was meant to be a bit more reckless. He was shown to kind of be this big hotshot as he's built this legacy for himself, and he's kind of damaged his own sort of oneself. And I think the point of his 8 lives were meant to be the person he once was, but now his worst traits. As his more muscle self is his pretty much ego, his basically him drinking and getting drunk on milk is meant to be his drunk on power, and him kind of firing himself from a cannon is meant to be his recklessness, and him sort of getting scorched alive from the cooker is supposed to be his kind of impulsiveness. And you can tell over the course of the film, we do kind of see how Puss has to come to terms with the person he used to be, and him now realizing how much of a mess his sort of building his legacy and that damaged him badly. Because in the first film, Puss in Boots was supposed to be less reckless and did things for the right reasons. When we had the start of the film, it kind of showed you Puss in Boots was extremely reckless, not realizing the consequences of his actions and seeing how it affected others around him. Like, yeah, Kitty Softpaws being left on her wedding day. We kind of see how Burrito still tries to be a friend despite Puss in Boots' sort of protests. And since this film was meant to take place after Shrek Forever, this implied that Puss in Boots went on other adventures, and it's kind of implied that him and Shrek did have a falling out. And I think for the most part, adding in Goldilocks and the Free Bear Crime Syndicate does work, because, yeah, it's clear that Goldilocks does care about the 3 bears, but you do see her having doubts if she really does want a new family or the one that she already has. And I think the point of Jack Horner is supposed to be based on the old nursery rhyme, Little Jack Horner. And I think his character does work. as he's shown to be reckless, arrogant, shown to kind of be wasteful, and not realizing the dangers of some of the magical items he uses. I think the point of Jack Horner's character is a bit of a message that there are just some people who aren't cut out for things, and sometimes when people are given something, it might not be the right thing for them to use. And the course of the whole Wishing Star story, I would say, is like a Infinity Train early season Digimon story. Seeing characters come to terms with things, characters getting their comeuppance, or having to kind of realise the mistakes of their actions. And I think the film can really go into serious territories, like showing Puss dealing with PTSD, looking back at the life he used to have, and him seeing his worst traits, and him kind of coming to terms with the person he used to be, and once again being that person. As it's like what Kitty Softball says, as Puss is now a much better person, and no longer that sort of person that he once was. And I think, yeah, kind of seeing how some characters realise their mistakes, some want to do the right thing, but some are just either too far gone, some want to believe they're in the right, and some characters start to kind of question if what they're doing is right. And I think the point of Puss in Boots' story is a message and a moral that sometimes you might start off with good intentions, building a legacy for yourself, and being the hero people need, but sometimes when success, sometimes when kind of believing that you're this big shot will make you kind of lose set of your morals, and sometimes realizing your flaws and coming to terms with how it hurts others is you finally taking the biggest step. I think, well, yeah, it's not a bad movie. You can tell it's still trying to be a good film. So I think it still deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.